Hello and welcome to Pedro's Movie Cavern. My name is Pedro, this is my movie cavern, and this is a video about horror movies. As it is Halloween season, I thought, considering I haven't done a video about horror movies in a very long time, and it is literally, I'm recording this 2 days before Halloween, I thought I'd run through a few movies. Now, the idea for this video came from watching a video on YouTube this morning by Ryan Hollinger, who was looking at Uwe Boll's god-awful movie, House of the Dead. Now, I'm not going to be talking about House of the Dead, so don't worry. I have seen that film, and it is absolutely awful. But it got me thinking about early 2000s horror movies, and the fact that during that period, there was a lot of stuff that came out that no one ever really talks about anymore. There was a lot of low-budget, indie type of horror that whenever you watch videos on YouTube of the top 10 horror movies of the 2000s, it's always the same movies that are talked about, or the underrated movies that are talked about, like Creep and Splinter, which, don't get me wrong, those movies are fantastic. But there was a lot of movies, and it got me watching trailers for movies from that period. So I watched the trailer for Rika 2, No Man's Land, and there was a few like They, which was Wes Craven Presents They, which was like a spooky dooky shadow people type of thing. And then it got me thinking more and more about the movies that I have in my collection that are sort of underrated or kind of forgotten about, or films that no one really knows about. And so I've got 10 movies. These are all DVD because I don't think any of these are available on Blu-ray, or if they are, they're not available on Blu-ray in the UK. And I'm not going to lie, most of these are very low budget, and to a lot of people they might seem like crap, but to me they were films that I enjoyed at the time, and they're films that on revisiting I find that they are still quite entertaining. So there's not going to be anything like Shaun of the Dead or that type of well-known films. These are going to be deep cut movies. I'm hoping they're going to be deep cut movies. So the first one I'm going to grab is... Who is this? Is a horror movie from, I think it's 2001. Which came out around the time of... I don't know if you remember... John Carpenter's Vampires came out hot on the heels of From Dusk Till Dawn. Then there was another film after it called The Forsaken, which was a vampire movie set on the road in the Mojave Desert or wherever it was meant to be, and it was kind of like a cross between John Carpenter's Vampires and the movie Near Dark. Well, there was a lot of these films around that time that were set in the desert, so horror movies set in deserts. Like I just mentioned, Rika 1 and 2, those are movies that are set at a roadside diner in the middle of nowhere. There was a film with Lou Diamond Phillips and what's her name from Tank Girl, Laurie Petty, there we go. It was a movie called Route 666, which was a sort of cops versus undead ghost monster prisoners on a road, on a chain gang. It's a very odd movie, but it's a very culty kind of the era movie. So this one came out around the same time as those, and this is also actually written by the same guy who wrote Uwe Boll's House of the Dead. And this is a far better movie than House of the Dead, and it stars Jeffrey Combs. It also stars Marissa Ramirez, Ellie Cornell, and everyone's favorite Mexican, Danny Trejo. And it is the movie All Souls Day, Dias de los Muertos. And it is a sort of throwback to the Blind Dead and the Mexican zombie movies of the 80s, 70s and 80s and stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's full of action. And obviously Danny Trejo is in this as well. And he's always great when Danny shows up. Machete himself. But this is, like I said, this is a very fun movie. It was directed by Jeremy Caston. Who else is in it? David Keith is in it, and Laura Herring. Laz Alonso, Nicole Hiltz, Travis Webster, or Wester. Produced by Mark A. Altman and Mark Gottwald, directed by Jeremy Kasten. And yeah, it's like I said, it's a fun throwback to the kind of exploitation zombie movies that we were getting from Spain back in the 70s and the 80s. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And this is a very deep cut. This was released by Anchor Bay. And this is a Region 1 DVD that I've had in my collection for very, very many years. And yeah, if you can find this, check out the trailer. It might not be your thing. It might be, who knows. All I know is that I personally enjoyed it when I saw it originally. So that's All Souls Day, Dios de los Muertos. And following on the heels of that, I don't know if you remember around about 2004, 2005, in that era, there was a lot of like low-budget slashers that would come out on direct-to-DVD, and a few of these were through a specific label that Warner Brothers had called Warner Premiere. Now, they put a couple of movies out. It wasn't a big success, but they put films like Rest Stop and this next one out. And this next one is a very fun sort of meta slasher, and it's the movie The Hills Run Red. It's about a film that was controversial at the time, and it's about a group of filmmakers or film students who go in search of the director of the movie, played by William Sadler, who you may know as Death from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and many, many other things. He's the villain in Die Hard 2, Die Harder. And yeah, this is a really fun, underrated slasher movie from like 2004, 2005. It might even be 2007, actually. Well, it says 2009, but it's not 2009. Directed by Dave Parker. Based on the story by John Carcietta and the screenplay by John Dombrow. Yeah. I just remember this being a hell of a lot of fun back in the day. And along with like Rest Stop, and I think there were a few others that were released by Warner Premiere. Yeah, Warner Brothers Premiere. This is cool. And it is an 18 here in the UK, so it's going to have some gnarly kills in it. And this killer here has like an old baby doll mask, and it's creepy as fuck. But it's another one of those backwards American horror movies, but with a sort of meta film within a film type of twist. So that's Hills Run Red. This next film is... This film is just stupid, but it's a lot of fun. It's a horror comedy starring Billy Zane from 2005? 2006, sorry. It stars Billy Zane, Maggie Castle, Shauna MacDonald, Evan Charles Flock, Jordan Madley, Rutherford Gray, Ian McPhail, Matthew Desleep, and it's directed by Johnny Kalangis. This film is, like I said, it's very silly. It's a movie called The Mad, and it's a zombie movie about a small town that is famous for its burgers and how they use locally sourced produce and meat and everything, which is why the town is famous for their fantastic burgers. However, the batch of burgers that they have now received have been infected with some sort of toxin that has turned people who eat it into zombies. That's why it's the mad cow disease, and it's about killer burgers that turn people into zombies, and it stars Billy Zane. But what I really like about this is the fact that it knows it's a film about killer burgers, and it doesn't take itself seriously in the slightest. Billy Zane is having a lot of fun in this. Almost the same level of fun he had in Demon Knight, the Tales from the Crypt movie. This is a lot lower budgeted than Demon Knight, but The Mad it's just a lot of fun, and it's got some good like zombie kills in it, but it's just a very funny movie. And yeah, The Mad zombie burgers, yeah. Then we have another, like I said, most of these are going to be low budget. The next one we have is one that I don't know anyone who's seen this movie. It's sort of like a low budget variation of From Dusk Till Dawn and Vamp, and a bit like Zombie Strippers, even though Zombie Strippers came out after this. But it's a movie that stars Kelly Hu, Devon Sawa and Ken Foree, and it's called Devil's Den. And it's about two drug dealers who accidentally find themselves mixed up with a female assassin played by Kelly Hu, who then find themselves at a strip joint that turns out to be the place. Well, not the place, but like, what do they call it? It's like a... I don't want to say base, because it's not a base. It's the home of demonic women, if you will. She witches or succubuses and stuff like that, and demons, female demons. And it's up to Ken Foree, Devon Sawa and Kelly Hu to destroy the stripper demon women things and make their escape to daylight. And it's a lot of fun. This is very low budget. It doesn't look like a low budget movie, so it does look like a low budget movie, but it doesn't look like it was shot on a very tight budget. The production design is actually pretty decent. The performances are actually pretty decent, and it's just, again, it's like The Mad and like the other films that are on this countdown. They are a lot of fun. But Devil's Den is one that kind of passed a lot of people by, I guess, because I didn't know that this film existed till I saw the photo on Amazon. I did a little bit of research behind it and thought that sounds right up my alley, so I will give that a shot. So there we go. That is Devil's Den. A lot of fun, silly, but yeah, fun. And again, it's an 18, so it's going to have some gnarly gore in it. Then we move to one which is actually probably more well known than the others on this list, because it was a British comedy horror from 2008, starring quite famous people in the UK and now around the world, especially one of them who is Andy Serkis. The other being Reece Shearsmith, and the female lead in this isn't as famous, well, probably isn't famous in the UK anymore, but was at one point for being on a soap opera. Her name was Jennifer Ellison. She was a Liverpudlian actress, or she is a Liverpudlian actress that was in the TV series Brookside. And this film was written and directed by Paul Andrew Williams, who went on to make a film called Cherry Tree Lane. And his first film was called London to Brighton, which was a kind of gangster movie. But his most recent work has kind of thrown him back into more kind of critically acclaimed sort of realm. He kind of dropped off for a while. The last film he made was a film called Bull with Neil Maskell, which was a sort of revenge from hell type of British gangster movie, which got like a super special edition from Second Sight, and it's a very, very, very good dark thriller. He's got a new one coming out with Andrea Riseborough as well, which looks very, very good as well. But this one is a sort of homage to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but set in the English countryside, and it is the movie The Cottage, which is absolutely bonkers. This film is a lot of fun. It's got some really good, like, ultra-violent kills in it, some very funny moments with Reece Shearsmith, and Andy Serkis is great. Jennifer Ellison plays a badass in this movie. And yeah, it's very fun and very gory. See, whenever I see videos of people talking about talking about the underrated movies of the 2000s, they always talk about films like Creep and Severance, but they never mention The Cottage, which came out around the same time as Severance. Now, Severance is a great movie, which is why I didn't put it on this list, because it's just had a 4K release, and people are aware of it, so I didn't bother talking about that. But The Cottage is a lot of fun. Very silly, very fun, very gory, very British as well. So yeah, there you go. That's The Cottage. Check that one out. Moving swiftly on. we have again, like I said, most of these are all going to be low budget movies. We have a low budget sort of indie not throwback, but an indie inspired by H.P. Lovecraft movie called Altitude, which is about a group of teens who take off with their friend who's an amateur pilot. Something happens when they're thrown into a storm and forced to climb higher and higher into the clouds until they discover that not only are they stuck in this storm, but they're not alone in the sky, and there's a gigantic tentacle monster in the clouds. It sounds silly and it sounds ridiculous, but it does have a lot of tense moments, and it doesn't play up on the comic aspect of it. In fact, it plays up more on the alternative reality side of things, whereas it's basically about a comic book that is becoming reality. Because on the plane there is a comic book which is like a Tales from the Crypt type of comic that just so happens to have a story about a plane that gets stuck in the clouds and it is attacked by a tentacle monster in the air. You barely ever see the monster. You only see it in flashes. The only thing you do now and then see the tentacles, but they are done very, very sparingly, just to give the air of tension. So it's not spoiling the movie for people who are then going to go on and see really bad CGI. But Altitude, again, when I saw this for the first time, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I picked it up on DVD. And yeah, it's one that I return to now and then because sometimes I need a cosmic horror fix, and so I think Altitude is a fun one to go with. Kind of reminded me of the Twilight Zone. It's very Twilight Zone-y. But yeah, definitely worth checking out if you can find a copy of this. I think it's still available. You might be able to find it cheap in CEX for £1 or something. But yeah, Altitude. We have 4 movies left. So the next one is a film that came out in 2007. Again, I don't know if this was classed as low budget. It's moderately budgeted. It's not like super low budget. It's not an indie movie or anything. It's actually put out by New Line Cinema. This one was. But this stars Josh Holloway as Sarah Wayne Callies while they were both still in very big TV shows at the time. Josh Holloway being in Lost as Sawyer, and Sarah Wayne Callies being in Prison Break at the time, which was a huge. Both shows were massive, but I think they made this during the writers' strike. I think it was the writers' strike, 2007, 2008. But the interesting thing about this movie is it also stars a very young Joel Edgerton and Michael Rooker, and it's the movie Whisper. Whisper is a film about 2 kidnappers who, a group of kidnappers who kidnap a young boy called David. And it's basically, David's not an ordinary child. And then he starts manipulating basically playing the kidnappers off against each other. It's essentially like, imagine a kidnap movie, but the kidnappers kidnap Damien from The Omen, and you would get Whisper. This is a tense, atmospheric, well-made, well-acted, well-shot horror, supernatural horror that I think a lot of people kind of missed and should give it a look, because it is a good, fun movie. And with a cast like that, Josh Holloway, Sarah Wayne Callies pre The Walking Dead, before she played Laurie, Michael Rooker and Joel Edgerton, Joel Edgerton went on and became huge. Michael Rooker is Michael Rooker. Like, what are you going to say? But yeah, Whisper, very, very, very good movie. Very underrated movie, I think. And very spooky at times. With, like I said, great production values, great cinematography, good music, good direction, great performances. Yeah, Whisper, very cool film. And then we have the movie. We have a movie that is, at the time, was classed as like the best horror movie, the best independent horror movie released on DVD or straight to DVD. And it is, again, a bit like The Hills Run Red. This is a very meta horror movie, and it's a film called Midnight Movie, and it's about a a lost horror film where the events that happened during the making of the film led to the actor playing the creature, the main killer, actually killing people and getting locked up in prison or a mental institute up until they find the restored version of the movie and play it at a theatre for a very select group of people. Basically, no one went to see it, and there was like 6 or 7 people in there. That's how you write to a budget. But shit goes down, and the movie is clearly cursed, and because it's cursed, it causes the killer to come out of the screen and to chase and kill whoever is locked in the cinema with them. There's supernatural elements to it. There are some really great kills, some really good VFX, like practical visual effects. And the killer has a really unique tool, or a really unique weapon, which is a bladed corkscrew, which he uses. Obviously, it's going to dig in and it's going to cause damage. And yeah, they show some really great kills in this movie as well. So yeah, I mean, this is a 15 rated. Says it contains strong, bloody, horror, gore, language, and violence, which a couple of years prior to this, it would have gotten 18. But if you can find a copy of Midnight Movie, I highly recommend checking this one out. It's a lot of fun. Again, it's low budget because it is an independent movie, but it is a lot of fun and definitely worth your time. So that's Midnight Movie. Then we have, again, like I said, they're all low budgets. There's none of these are going to be big studio movies. I think the movie with the highest budget is probably going to be The Cottage. But this one, again, this was like a calling card for the people who were involved in this movie. And this is a very low budget, independently shot horror movie from director Jim Mickle. It was the first movie that he made. He made it with Nick D'Amici, who wrote the movie, and they would go on and work together on subsequent movies like Cold in July, Stakeland 2. Jim Mickle would then go on and work on the TV series Hap and Leonard, and a Netflix movie called In the Shadow of the Moon, I think it was called, which is like a weird vampire type of film, I think it was. Nick D'Amici would go on and star in a werewolf movie as a blind man called Late Phases, which is also very, very good. Highly recommend checking that one out. But this movie is a movie called Mulberry Street, or as it was known in the UK, Zombie Virus on fucking Mulberry Street. Not fucking. It was called Zombie Virus on Mulberry Street, which just kind of ruins the vibe of the movie. Mulberry Street just, like, it doesn't tell you what it is, which is what I really like about it. But you whack the words zombie virus, it makes it sound cheaper. However, Mulberry Street is a zombie film, but it's a different kind of zombie movie. It's set in New York. It's set in Manhattan, and there is some sort of virus going around spread by rats. But the virus has mutated, and now it's causing the people who get infected not to turn into zombies, but to turn into zombie rats. I know that sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Oh god, that just sounds really, really cheesy. Zombie rat, oh no, what's he gonna do? Gnaw at me face? This movie is fucking terrifying at parts, because it's shot all handheld, and it's shot on very not low quality, but it's shot on digital video. With handheld cameras in very, very tight hallways and stuff, because they shot it in a real apartment building. And the VFX that they've done, the practical visual effects that they did on this, are absolutely fantastic. And it's got this really grim atmosphere to it. So whacking the term zombie virus on Mulberry Street kind of cheapens an already cheaply made movie to make it sound worse than to make it sound cheaper than it actually is. Whereas just keeping the title Mulberry Street, it doesn't give you anything. It lets you wonder what this movie's about. But yeah, this movie can be at points quite fucking terrifying, and it's very, very well made, and it's clear that the people involved in this would go on to make better, higher budget movies and carve out a career making higher budgeted horror movies. But Mulberry Street is great and definitely worth checking out if you can find a copy of it. Or if you can still find a copy of Zombie Virus on Mulberry Street, I highly recommend getting that in the UK. just not into that title. And then finally, we have a film. Again, this is kind of a cheesy movie, a cheesy horror film from the 2005, 2006, I think this was. At a time when zombies were the big thing, because obviously Shaun of the Dead had come out, Dawn of the Dead, it was still riding on the coattails of 28 Days Later. 28 Weeks Later was almost coming out in 2007. This movie was, again, like I've said, all of these are low budget movies. This one came out... It was released by New Line Cinema, but it was released direct to video. And it's kind of a cross between Snakes on a Plane and the aeroplane scene from World War Z, where the zombie infection is on the plane. And it's a movie called Flight of the Living Dead: Outbreak on a Plane. Now, it does sound silly. It has a silly name. But there is a reason why it does sound silly. It's because the movie doesn't take itself serious. It's a very silly, very gory, very ridiculous zombie movie set on a plane. It is a lot of fun. It has a very good cast in it with Richard Tyson, who, if you're unfamiliar with Richard Tyson, watch Kindergarten Cop. He plays the father who is after the child that Mr. Kimball is gone to Astoria to protect. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. Again, you have Richard Tyson in this. You have Eric Avari from Stargate and Adam Sandler's Mr. Deeds. But the interesting thing about this movie is also got Kevin J. O'Connor, who at the time was starring in... Well, maybe not at the time. A few years earlier, had like co-starring roles in like Deep Rising and The Mummy and The Mummy Returns and stuff. But yeah, a lot of fun. Very silly movie. Very gory movie. This is the unrated Region 1 release. And yeah, if you can find any of these, I highly recommend just checking them out. I think a lot of them are free on YouTube or might be on Tubi or something like that. This was just a few that I found. I did find some more, but they were ones that quite a lot of people really knew about. So I thought I'd just show off these 10. I've been talking for 20 minutes. No, for half an hour without a drink, so my throat's gone really dry. So there we go. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for tuning into the Movie Mind stream that I did with Tim on the first episode. It was a very interesting conversation we had. I will be doing more of those in the future. That was the first episode just to see how it worked. Tim really enjoyed it, which was great. I really enjoyed it. It's more specifically about film, not about about certain aspects of film and not specifically what they call it, physical media. But thank you all for watching it. We've had quite a few views on Rewatch. We didn't have a huge amount of audience while we were live, but that's okay. Like, I quite like the idea of getting more views as once it's all been done. However, this is my sort of Halloween special, my top 10 underrated, missed, forgotten, never seen horror movies that you can choose to take as a recommendation. So thanks everyone. My name is Pedro. This is Pedro's Movie Cavern. I'm sweating so badly because I've got my heating on and I'm standing here and I'm really thirsty. And I think I might be coming down with a cold. I don't know. But yeah, thank you everyone. My name is Pedro. This is Pedro's Movie Cavern. As usual, I'm going to give you a salute. I'm going to throw up the peace sign and I'm going to tell you that I am out. Cheers everyone. See ya.